Hello, my dears. Daniela here, and welcome to another episode of the Spa Marketing Made Easy podcast. This episode that I'm about to play for you came out completely different than I thought it was. It was actually, I have Danielle Pastula, who has been part of Team Addo for the past 4 years. She has been my copywriter, my social media, magic woman, has helped me with so many different things. And we had the intention to come on here and do this really tactical, step 1, step 2, step 3 kind of episode on how to make your social media easier and how to answer your questions. For those of you, the 3 main questions that I get over and over and over again is, I don't have enough time to do social media. How do I find the time? I have no idea what to say. I have no idea what to post. How do you figure out what to say? And I'm spending so much time on social media, but I'm not seeing any return. How am I actually making money in my business if I'm spending all my time on social media, but not seeing any type of change? So we wanted to go through and answer those questions, which we absolutely did. So you guys will love that. You're going to walk away with some very tactical information. So take some notes on this one. But we got into a little bit of a deeper conversation on self-worth and value and mindset, which I think is really actually the key behind a lot of the things that women and estheticians struggle with when it comes to social media. A lot of not knowing what to say comes from, the believing in yourself. Am I worthy? Am I someone who is expert enough? Am I someone who is smart enough? Am I someone who is, insert whatever adjective or whatever, thing that you struggle with in. And that's really the core issue, because we're worried about, if we say something, what is someone else on social media going to say about us or think about us? So we get into the tactical stuff, but we also talk about the kind of why behind why some of that stuff comes up. So it's an awesome conversation. I love Danielle. She's an amazing team member. She's an amazing friend. She's a military spouse. So we have so much that we connect with on so many different levels. So grab your pen and paper. Be sure to have a listen to this one, and make sure that you head over to the Spa Marketing Made Easy Facebook group and let us know if you have any questions or if there's anything further that we can help you out with in putting yourself out there on social media and doing it in a way that doesn't take massive amounts of your time or energy, but still makes you money. That's a super important piece. All right, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and play that interview with Danielle. All right, Danielle, welcome to Spa Marketing Made Easy. It's kind of fun to talk to you here because we actually talk every week.
Yeah, it is.
Now I just get to share you with our amazing audience. So I'm so glad to have you here.
I'm so happy to be here and to get to talk to everyone in your audience.
So for those of you who don't know, Danielle has actually been a part of the Addo Aesthetics team. Is it 4 years?
Yeah, about 4 years.
For 4 years now. And she is the mastermind behind all of our social media, behind our strategy, all of that kind of stuff. So my job is to tell Danielle what I like to talk about. And I just kind of brain dump a bunch of information in her direction. I say, I write out my point or intention with a post or an image, and she makes it sound pretty. she makes it sound professional instead of just like blah. So I wanted to have her on here today to really chat about the 3 biggest obstacles that I hear you guys talking about in the Spa Marketing Made Easy Facebook that we're getting DMs about, and specifically related to social media. So not having enough time, right? That's a big one. Everyone's like, oh, I don't have time to post something on social media. How do people have time to always be engaging or commenting or all of that? Not knowing what to say That's a big one. That's one I struggled with personally for a long time because I was like, why do people post what they're eating for lunch on social media? I don't get it. And then finally, not generating revenue in your business, which is probably the most important one, because I believe that every single activity that you're doing in your business should have an ROI. So whether you're posting, if you're spending a bunch of time posting on social media, but that's not getting you clients in the door, then you've got to relook at where you're allocating your time. So Danielle, do you want to just jump into not having enough time? Like, what do you say to people that come to you and say that?
So I understand, for one, because it is a time-consuming process to do social media well. However, it's probably taking more time than it needs to because you don't have a system in place. And the way that you put a system in place is by actually carving out time windows that you're going to dedicate to social media, not just, and I know this is really probably a bigger problem when you're in the treatment room and you've got a little bit of a 15-minute window maybe between when your next client shows up and you're like, I just need to post on Instagram, or I just need to slap up something. So you're searching, scrolling, trying to come up with an idea. Before you know it, something that really could take you 5 minutes ends up taking you a full 15 or even 20, 30 minutes because you get sucked into that scroll, right? The apps are designed for us.
Even longer than that. Because you're like,
I know.
I post, and then somehow you're like learning about, these fancy cupcakes that you make.
Yeah.
You're like, what was I even doing?
Oh yeah. Show me a video of like pore extractions and I'm lost for like 30 minutes. So yeah, it's you need to have a actual dedicated time window where you're not actually in the apps that you're trying to post to, and you're sitting down and doing like what we do with your social media, which is culling all of the images together and saying, okay, these are the images I want to post this week. And then going in and saying, I'm going to write all my captions. And this is a process called batching, where you're basically batching your time. I know you're really big on this, and you talk about doing this with a lot of processes in your marketing, whether it's writing emails. I mean, it can be applied to so many areas, but with social media, really sitting down maybe an hour per, not even week really, as you get more efficient and you do this batching process more regularly, you can sit down and say an hour and carve out the next 2 weeks worth of social media posts. Or maybe you do a whole month at a time. You don't have to do it all at once. You can break it up into whatever kind of a time window fits for you, but essentially just not doing that thing of getting into the app every day, trying to think about what to post, because then it doesn't really have any purpose behind it. You're not posting things that are actually going to give you results when you're doing it from that approach.
Well, and kind of an important distinction is that when you're doing social media, I know we were kind of talking about this before the call, but when you're doing social media personally, it's completely different than doing it for your business.
Absolutely.
So personally, you can just post random things like, oh, I think this is cool, or this is what I'm doing today, or whatever. But your business, the posts that you're making are for your customers. Mm-hmm. It's not for your own self-expression, And so being intentional, is such an important piece, and kind of telling a story through your social media, creating, what your business is all about is a really important thing to do. And you can't do that every 15 minutes in between your clients, randomly scrolling through, because your social media will look really kind of haphazard, I guess.
Yes, that was the exact word I was going to use. Haphazard is it's just kind of all over the place. There's no focus.
I don't know where it came from.
I would have. That was the exact word that was in my mind, because yes, it does. It looks haphazard. It's just kind of all over the place. There's no real point to anything. And like you said, that's fine for your personal accounts, and you can totally have a personal account that you post to, but you need to have a business account, and you need to have a business page on Facebook and a business profile on Instagram, and have those platforms be a reflection of your work and the value that you provide for your clients. It really needs to be about your client, not about you. Like you said, oh, okay, I'm posting my lunch for the day. It's like, that's great. You can post that on your personal profile if you want to, because maybe your friends and family want to see what you're eating for lunch. But your clients, is that what they want to see? Probably not if you're an esthetician.
So let's move on to the next one. I know some of these will kind of tie into one another, but not knowing what to say.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a big one. I know sometimes I am like, okay, I want to post something, obviously before you came into my life. Like, I want to post something. I have no idea how to post something meaningful that will get engagement, that will get my message across, that's not like 10 pages long.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how can I post something that's going to connect with my ideal client?
The very first thing whenever I hear that of, I don't know what to post, I think the first thing to look toward is, what are your most frequently asked questions from your clients?
Yes.
And it's because we, in whatever realm our expertise is, things come to us really naturally, right? Because it's what we know and do every day. But then your clients do not have your expertise. So while something may seem super simple to you, your client may be on the other side of that going, oh, I don't know what I should be doing for my skincare regime every morning. Like, you know, and you're thinking it's so obvious, but it's those frequently asked questions or things that you're just hearing over and over again in your treatment room that you need to then be diffusing onto social media through educational posts, and not obviously, like you said, posting things where it's like you could write 10 pages on it. Break it up into little chunks where maybe let's just say someone is having an issue with picking at acne. Like, that's a popular thing that people, you know, whenever I go to my esthetician, she's like, stop picking. And I've gotten a lot better, but it's like, what are the tips that you can give someone? Why should they stop picking? Educate your client on that. What happens in the skin when someone does something like that? What can it lead to? What are the benefits of not touching your face? Breaking up all of those things into their own individual posts and layering it into your overall plan that you're doing, which when you're batching, you can see it all laid out on a calendar. That's why I use tools like editorial calendars, where we have each day mapped out in a spreadsheet. That way we can see, okay, on this day, we're going to do a tip post. On this day, we're going to do a client testimonial. That way you're layering in different visuals.
So let's just talk about that for a second, because I think that's one of the most simple, actionable things that those listening right now, like for those of you who are like just lost when it comes to social media, I think the first thing you can do is create an editorial calendar. Mm-hmm. And it's maybe sounds like a fancy word or something that you haven't heard of before, but it's really like, write out the days of the week that you're going to post and write the topic of what you're going to post. Are you going to do, like you were saying, a testimonial? Mm-hmm. Are you going to do a skincare tip? Are you going to show a before and after? You know, whatever it is that you're going to show. Are you going to do an inspirational post? Are you going to do behind the scenes? Are you going to do something personal about you that, you know, obviously like you want to keep it professional, but you still can share your personality, your likes, different things that you're, you know, if you are, especially if you're a solo esthetician and you are the face of your business. But mapping that out will dramatically increase your just overall satisfaction with social media and take away so much of the stress. If you're like, oh, next month is May and there's 5 Mondays in May, and I do testimonials on Mondays. So I've got to find 5 testimonials. Mm-hmm. Done. 5 weeks of content done. Yeah. Right there.
Yep.
Go to Yelp, go to Google, you know, look at your Facebook page, find testimonials, copy, paste, put it on a template that you create in Canva. This is all free, you guys. Yes. So that's awesome advice. Awesome advice. But what if they truly, like, I know I'm thinking of one person in particular in our Spa Retail Rockstar program, and I love her so much, but she has a lot of trouble with knowing what to say because she's worried that if it's not perfect, then, you know, someone's going to judge her or someone's going to look badly on her business or, you know, all of these kind of things. And so she kind of gets like paralysis because she's like, and she'll spend so much time trying to figure out her social media. And she's awesome. She's super talented, but it just stops her in her tracks.
So that really goes into, and I know, Daniela, like you've gotten more into the woo side of things over the last couple of years. I've seen you make that transformation.
I started with my toe, and now I think I'm like up to my thigh.
Yeah. No, but it's true. Mindset, and you've talked about the science of it as well, that there is science rooted in mindset, but this really about the perfectionism issue in terms of, I'm afraid to post because of what other people will think. That goes down really to mindset, where first of all, if you're an expert in what you do and you truly know that you can provide transformation or results for your clients, you have no doubt that you can do that, right? And I know that anyone who's listening to this podcast is at a place where they feel confident that they can really get their clients results. They're listening to your podcast because they are working hard to build their business. And that takes a certain level of self-awareness and personal development. But when you are struggling with the perfectionist side, you already have the value. So don't be afraid of what other people are going to think. You just need to come to it with a place of, I'm here to share what I know, to educate, provide value, show you what's possible for yourself, regardless of whether you work with me or not. I'm just giving you the value here, and trust that when you have the other pieces in place, which I know we're going to talk about in a few minutes, but when you have the other pieces in place, that if someone's resonating with you on a heart level and they are beginning to feel like they're getting to know, like, and trust you, that you don't have to be perfect, so to speak. And there's really no version of perfect. It's just a matter of whether someone's connecting with you, finding value in what you're sharing. And if someone, for whatever reason, doesn't really like what you're posting, they're not your people. And that's fine. They're not your ideal client if they find something that you're talking about or sharing just not clicking with them, or they don't like it. And what other people think of you is just not, it's none of your business. So you don't need to worry about it.
Easier said than done.
It is.
It's definitely taken for me years of like being okay with people not liking what I'm putting out there. And I think as women tend to be people pleasers. And so it can be more challenging for us to really focus on social media because we want everybody to like us. We want everybody to, but it's just in life, that's not the case. And so it can be really hard to post something. And I think, I'm gonna respectfully disagree with you on something that you said.
Okay.
And you said, I think everyone listening is already an expert and knows that they can make changes in their skin, but they're focusing on building their business. I believe that they are. I believe that they have the knowledge, but I bet you that a lot of the women out there don't believe in themselves to know their own value and don't believe in their own worth, because that is something that I realized was an issue in myself, where, we talk about like the whole, going to beauty school and, like, oh, when are you going to get a real job? Or when are you going, and so there are a lot of like self-worth issues.
You're right.
Women that go into aesthetics, even though the estheticians that I've met are extremely talented, extremely smart, extremely driven, extremely compassionate. They're exceptional human beings, but they just don't have the same support from society. Because if you tell, like you were just sharing, is it okay if I share?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, you wanted to be a makeup artist and your family said, no, you're going to a 4-year school because a 4-year school is better than someone who's being a makeup artist. And so we have that stigma in our society, which is absolutely not true. But I think that a lot of women suffer with that and suffer with the belief, even though they are incredibly talented, then it makes it all ties back to this. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do on social media. I don't know how to promote my business because I'm not good enough, smart enough, perfect enough, whatever enough, So I wasn't really expecting this episode here, but
no, you're absolutely right. And the reason why I probably didn't even like acknowledge that is because in my mind, like I know how much value an esthetician brings.
Right.
Because I've experienced it myself with going and getting the treatments that I get and how much of a transformation it makes, not just in your skin, but your confidence. I mean, everything.
100%.
Yeah. So it's like, I know the value. So I'm like, of course, you know your own value. Because I know,
but when you put it back, it's like, oh, did I? Yeah. Like, yeah.
But you're right. You're right.
One of those things that doing the personal work, doing the mindset work, and it's a journey, you guys. This is a marathon, not a sprint. And you will have ups and downs, and you'll have days that you feel like, on top of the world. And then you'll have days that you feel like you just want to like go dig a hole and like crawl into bed and get under the covers or whatever. And it's all about just like staying the path. And the thing is, with social media, we think that everybody sees everything that we post. And in reality, our audiences, if we're lucky, Facebook, I think it's like 1%.
I was going to say Facebook's 1%. And I actually just looked this up. Instagram is 7%.
7%. So if you have 100 people following you, 7 of them will see your post.
Yeah. And of course there's strategies to help you get in front of more eyeballs. But from a mindset perspective, I would almost look at that too as a little bit of a blessing where you're like, I can just freely kind of post some stuff, test things out, be vulnerable, not put out what I think is perfect and be like held back by it, and just know, hey, not everyone is seeing this. Like in a way, it's almost kind of freeing.
This morning, before we got on our call, I did a Facebook Live. I totally like started coughing. I was like, this is not going to work. So I stopped the video. I deleted it. And then I just redid it. Yeah. But I'm like, I have almost 11,000 people on my Facebook. And I'm like, well, that one's getting deleted. So all the people that were watching it when it was live got to see it. And
they're not, and because they were with you live, like they're not coming back to watch the replay anyways. So, because they were there with you live, it doesn't, in the grand scheme, like you said, it's just, it's all a journey.
It's a journey. It was a journey this morning. I would like not to have coughed, but it happens. It's not going to ruin my business. Yeah. It's not the end of the world. If a customer or an esthetician sees that and doesn't want to be, like if you think it's that same thing, it's like, we are all human and no one is going to judge you on that level. If they do, then it's like, they're not your people anymore. Yeah.
Well, and speaking of that, just being human and perfectionism, I've noticed this is more from an analytical point of view. Any one of my clients who I do social media work for, I can see all the back ends, how many people click, how many people engage. I can see what resonates across every type of account, different types of business owners offering totally different types of things. Personal posts where people are sharing vulnerability, their humanness, their imperfections. It's amazing how much better those posts perform. And obviously you want to be authentic, right? You don't want to, fake or just put all your dirty laundry out on the internet because that's what performs better. That's not what it's about. But know that people connect with people. And so when you are willing to share the imperfect pieces of things or parts of your journey that are maybe seem a little scary or vulnerable to share, other people connect with that because it allows them to see themselves in your story and to say, me too, which is like the biggest thing that you can possibly connect with someone about, especially over social media.
Absolutely. So let's kind of tie these things in to a strategy of making sure that the time and energy that you're spending on social media actually generates revenue in your business.
Yes.
And that's arguably the most important piece because you have a business. If you're doing it, if you're not making money, it's a hobby. But this is something that should be extremely valued. You're providing a wonderful service to your clients and helping improve the quality of their life. and that should be compensated. And so the time and energy that you're using on social media to be able to reach out to them and connect with them, let them know who you are, what you're about, what the types of services that you offer, how you can impact their lives, that should also be rewarded with appointments and connecting on that next level. So how do we tie that into social media and make sure that we're actually getting appointments booked and seeing an ROI on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, because we can talk about all the like feel good stuff all day long, but at the end of the day, like we want to know this is generating a return on our investment, both our time, energy, and our money. So with social media, and this is something I find it's kind of polar opposites, but I find that especially in the spa space, people are either pushing too hard for the sale where it's like constant promotions, constant like buy, this is what I'm offering this week, or it's not telling people how to book with you. It's like, it's very polarizing. And the happy place is really in the middle where you are sharing value. You're doing those things that are showcasing the expertise, you're educating your audience, you're giving that value away to build that know, like, and trust factor that someone will then take the next step. But you've also got to tell people what to do next. And that's going to be in marketing speak. We call that CTAs, so call to actions. At the end of every post, you want to be asking someone a question, getting something for them to engage. But about, and I know this is like a kind of a common ratio, about 80-20. You want to do 80% value, 20% promotion. So 20% of the time, you want that call to action to be, get in touch with me to book your consultation, or check out our new, whatever it is, like doing that heavier call to action that's more of a direct, hey, we want to promote this kind of service or this product, whatever the case may be, and driving people over to the next step. And that's where you really need to have all your other marketing pieces in place, because you can be doing all this work on social media, but if you're not driving people through what is essentially a funnel where you're really bringing people from this large area of social media where they're all kind of community congregating over to your website and then onto your email list and bringing them closer and closer to you, where you're then eventually making that one-on-one contact. So with generating the revenue from your social media, you need to make sure that you're driving them to the next step, which should ideally be an email list or a direct kind of conversation, whether it's, call us or direct message us. That's kind of a personal preference.
Some spas that, especially the ones that are using ManyChat, they're using the bots to kind of create their own list that way, where they can do broadcast. Some spas will have like message us for your consult or things like that. But I still feel like an email, like if you look at the stats, the rate of return on email is $38 for every dollar spent. You own the list. With social media, the algorithms change every month.
Yeah.
Which is totally fine. It's fine. They're figuring out ways to create more engagement and keep it social. And that's great. But you just have to stay on top of those things. With your list, you can segment, you can nurture, you can connect in so many different ways. So to really tie in what you were just saying, because I really love that 80-20. So 80% value, 20% promotion. You can create that in your editorial calendar. So you can just have, if you're posting 5 days, one of the days can be a promotional post. And one thing that I love to do, and I've shared this example and I'm going to share it again because I just think it's totally like an amazing way to approach your social media, is if you are doing like whatever your promotion is for the month, like let's say you're doing chemical peels, then all of your testimonials would be on chemical peels. You can do posts about contraindications, pre and post care, what a chemical peel actually is. You can go through all of these different things. So you're having a unified message of something that you're talking about. And then your promotional piece can be book now, come in and book now. So it's really creating, instead of like we were saying, the haphazard social media with like one day you're showing your dermaplaning 4x4, and one day you're showing the back of the hydrofacial, and one day, it's like all these things that are like, oh, this is cool, or this is showing that I know what I'm doing. But it's not creating a story or a message about like, we are all about chemical peels, and chemical peels is what you need to do right now. This is how, like that, creating the demand essentially for that specific service. And if you have an editorial calendar, you're kind of taking the thinking out of it, of the overthinking of just like, if I'm talking to my patient or my client, here's what I would say to them. Just write that in the post.
Yep.
Don't overthink it. Keep it simple.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where, like you said, it just not having that haphazard look where everything can be kind of focused on one sort of topic area. It really helps drive a message home and point people toward one specific thing. And even if you offer multiple things, you just kind of vary that up between, okay, well, this month our focus is chemical peels. Next month, we'll focus on dermaplaning. And that once someone gets into your spa, that you're then going to present other options that you feel would be good for them, but don't confuse them up front. I think it's Donald Miller has a quote where he says, if you confuse, you'll lose when it comes to your marketing. And that's why having a unified kind of topic around what you're talking about and really posting with a purpose is how you're going to be able to get people hooked in, engaged, interested, and then want to take that next step and actually getting in touch with you.
Absolutely. So, okay. So for the estheticians out there that are like, all right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to stop being afraid on social media. I'm going to believe in myself, because you're awesome, by the way, for those of you who are listening and questioning that. I think you're amazing. What advice do you want to give them? What would you say is kind of like, here's your next steps. Here's what you need to know to start killing it on social.
Put together a plan. Break out that spreadsheet, like create that editorial calendar for yourself. It does not need to be complicated. Seriously, open up a Google spreadsheet, list out the day of the week, whether it's Monday through Friday, Monday through Saturday, however many days you want to post, and then list out your days of the month and fill in your spreadsheet. What picture are you going to post? What caption are you going to write? And just get it all out for a couple weeks, and then actually get it onto social media and engage. That then frees up your time where you can then go and engage with the people who are commenting, liking your posts, and actually create those kind of conversations. Because that's really how you're going to win on social media, is if you can be consistent enough, both in your posting and the message that you're posting, and you start driving that attention, you can then give your attention to the people who are interacting with your posts. And that's actually when you're going to start seeing the real results come out of it, because social media is social. So if you can actually like build those conversations up with the people who are interacting with your content, then you're going to be able to see those results come through.
And now with this most recent algorithm change, you're going to get in front of more people, the more comments that you get, not just emojis or likes, it's the actual comments and engagement, the more people you'll see. So if you actually have those 15 minutes between appointments, use that to comment. Use that to reply to the people who are engaging with you. That is how you're going to really grow the business.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Danielle. This has been awesome. I know our listeners are going to love it. I want to encourage all of you listening to take action. If Danielle's in our Spa Marketing Made Easy Facebook group, so feel free to tag her over there. But let's see some editorial calendars. Let's see some action out there. Don't make this harder than it is, you guys. Just one step in front of the other. You can totally do this. All right. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you on the next episode.